Welcome to today's explainer. So, have you ever looked at a complex math problem and just immediately reached for your phone to solve it? Honestly, we all do it. But what if your own mind could process numbers at a speed that makes modern technology look, well, kind of sluggish? Today, we are exploring a presentation that totally challenges the limits of human calculation. We're going to break down the techniques of a guy who stands on the stage and literally outpaces machines, using absolutely nothing but his brain. Okay, picture this. You're sitting in the audience at a TEDx event. The speaker walks out and immediately asks for volunteers who consider themselves pretty fast with a digital calculator. 3 people raise their hands, they're invited up to the stage, and the ultimate showdown is set. Man versus machine. It's a really bold hook, right? And it instantly begs the question, can a human brain truly beat a calculator in real time? And honestly, more importantly, how on earth is that even possible? The man on stage is Arthur Benjamin, and he introduces himself not just as a mathematician, but as a mathemagician. It's this incredibly unique combination of his love for math and magic. But here is the secret. There are no smoke and mirrors here, no hidden earpieces or tricks. The magic is entirely cognitive. He uses mathematics to perform mental feats that appear completely impossible to the untrained eye, turning raw calculation into this wildly entertaining stage performance. So Arthur sets up the ultimate test. He looks at his 3 volunteers with their calculators ready to go, and he asks the audience to just shout out 3 random 2-digit numbers. The challenge? The volunteers have to square those numbers, meaning they multiply the number by itself using their calculators. Arthur, using only his brain, is going to try to race them to the correct answer. The audience randomly selects 24, 98, and 26. The tension is definitely building. The starting gun fires on that first number. The first number is 24, and before the volunteer can even finish punching the digits into their keypad, Arthur instantly calls it out, 576. He delivers the correct square of 24 with absolute lightning speed. The audience is stunned, but, the race is just getting started. No time to rest. The second number is 98. Boom, 9,604. Arthur visually punches the answer into the air with just sheer energy. He is completely outpacing the digital displays right in front of him. Finally, the third number, 26. And with effortless precision, Arthur calls out 676. And that's it. The race concludes. Arthur's brain easily beats the machines across all 3 numbers. The volunteers check their screens, confirm the answers, and the crowd just erupts into applause. It's a spectacular opening for sure, but Arthur is literally just getting warmed up. Section 1. 3-digit squares, escalating the challenge. Okay, let's dive into this, because beating a calculator with 2-digit numbers is wildly impressive, but this is where the performance goes from impressive to just flat-out unbelievable. The audience starts throwing out random 3-digit numbers, and Arthur squares them in this insane rapid-fire sequence. Someone yells 576. He instantly fires back 331,776. Next is 103. He drops 10,609. Then 125 becomes 15,625. 985 becomes 970,225. And 926 becomes 857,476. Guys, he doesn't even write a single digit down. He processes 6-digit answers in a fraction of a second, maintaining flawless accuracy while the audience's disbelief visibly grows. Then, he pushes the limits of probability even further. He asks his volunteers to take the number 576 and multiply it by any random 4-digit number of their choosing, which creates this massive 6- or 7-digit result. He tells them to call out all the digits in their answer in any scrambled order they want, except for one. They have to hold 1 digit back. Just by hearing the scrambled digits, Arthur miraculously guesses the single withheld number for all 3 volunteers. He nails the missing 8, then a 6, and then another 6. As Arthur points out, the odds of guessing all 3 correctly by pure chance is exactly 1 in 1,000. No way, right? Section 2. The human calendar. Any date, any day. So Arthur suddenly shifts gears entirely. Moving away from raw multiplication, he showcases a completely different type of mental gymnastics by claiming he can instantly name the day of the week for absolutely any birth date called out by the crowd. Obviously, the audience tests him. Someone shouts July 3rd, 1992. Arthur instantly replies, Friday. Another calls out June 26, 1995. He fires back, Monday. It just goes on and on. But to truly prove his mental calendar isn't just, memorized recent history, he asks for a date far in the future. An audience member picks a random date centuries away, June 13, 2730. Without missing a single beat, Arthur confirms it will be a Friday. His mental algorithm spans centuries effortlessly.
Section 3. The final boss. 37,691 squared.
The room goes totally quiet as Arthur prepares for his grand finale. He is going to attempt to square a random 5-digit number. 5 different audience members each call out a single digit to generate the problem. 3, 7, 6, 9, 1. He has to square 37,691 entirely in his head. The tension in the room is palpable. But right before he starts, he pauses. He wants the audience to know exactly what they are witnessing. He reassures them that he isn't drawing on some supernatural ability. He playfully says, there is definitely a method to my madness. He wants to make it crystal clear that this isn't magic at all. It's a highly structured, practiced mental process. And to prove it, he promises to do this entire massive calculation out loud. For the next few minutes, Arthur talks through a dizzying maze of numbers. He calculates, he holds numbers in his head, he adjusts, he adds them all together, and then he arrives at the climax. He looks at the audience and asks if the answer is 1,420,611,481. The crowd erupts. He nailed it. The sheer scale of processing a billion-plus result entirely in his working memory just leaves the room completely astounded. Section 4. The method behind the madness. So the crucial point is, how does he actually do this? Let's shift from being amazed spectators to fascinated scientists for a second and demystify the incredible architecture of his thought process. Squaring a 5-digit number is less about raw computing power and much more about clever mental organization. Let's break down how this actually works. Arthur tackles this mammoth problem using basic algebra. Instead of taking on 37,691 all at once, he splits it into manageable parts, 37,691. Using a standard algebraic expansion formula, he first squares 37,000. Then he squares 691. Next, he multiplies 37,000 by 691 and doubles it. Finally, he adds all those massive intermediate results together. It's a structured recipe, but keeping all those giant numbers in his head while doing the next step? That's where human working memory usually fails. To bypass the limits of his working memory, Arthur uses a brilliant mnemonic device called a phonetic code. This is the true secret weapon of mathematics. Because our brains really struggle to remember long strings of random digits, Arthur actually converts the intermediate numbers into words. He stores the numbers as words in his mind, clears his mental workspace to do the next math problem, and then retrieves those words and translates them back into numbers when it's time to add the whole shebang together. And this brilliantly illustrates exactly what we're talking about. During his out loud calculation, you can actually hear him using this code. When he calculated 51,134, he converted it into the phrase late tomorrow. He stored 420 million as tomorrow, and the number 477,481 became the word raft. By turning abstract math into a bizarre little story of words, he effectively upgraded his brain's RAM, allowing him to pull off a feat most people think requires a silicon microchip. Arthur Benjamin's performance is a literal masterclass in the potential of the human mind. He proves that with structure, method, and a little creativity, we can bypass the cognitive bottlenecks we assume are fixed. So as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with this thought. If a human being can structure their thoughts to outpace a machine, what hidden limits of your own brain are you currently underestimating? Thanks for exploring this with me today, and keep challenging what you think is impossible.